Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. I'm here with Madhava Mohini in Wellington from Bhakti Lounge. So we don't personally have too much experience of doing a lot of sets, but we've been trying since last year, around this time last year. For 1 full year to do book tables, and every time we do a book table we're taking Srimad Bhagavatam set onto the street with us. And so we've noticed that in doing this, the main thing is that we're trying to serve the Srimad Bhagavatam by always taking it with us and always making sure that it's presented really nicely. And of course, in New Zealand and especially in Wellington, there's not so many, it's mostly Western people, so there's not so many Indian bodied people who are familiar with Srimad Bhagavatam. And so this is presenting a new and exciting challenge for us. So if we have a few steps that we wrote down of what we're trying to do, and the main thing that we've noticed so far when sets have gone out is that just because of our constant effort of taking the Bhagavatam out, presenting it nicely and really trying, Krishna is actually just sending sincere people. Okay? We've just, not any specific techniques, but it just seems that the regular effort Krishna is reciprocating with. But we do have some pointers, and the first one is the aesthetics. So always making sure that the Bhagavatam set is at the center of the table, it's beautifully laid out. We even have like very nice tablecloths, and we have a black tablecloth, and now we've put golden decorations on the black, so then the Bhagavatam is sitting on top of the golden mandalas. So it looks very attractive, and the Bhagavatam itself is very colorful and beautiful. And then we put the other books of Srila Prabhupada around the Bhagavatam set. So aesthetic is a main thing, because then naturally people are drawn in to want to know more about what is this huge collection of books in the table. And the second thing is that we noticed that because people are not so familiar with the Srimad Bhagavatam itself, we've created some resources, or we use some resources to help bridge the gap. So one of the devotees a few years ago actually made this manual, and it's a brochure basically, which explains about what is the Srimad Bhagavatam. So the question on the front, you can see, what would you do with only 7 days to live? So every time when we go out, we take the brochure with us and we have it on the table. And generally we approach the person and give them the brochure first in their hand. So then they think, oh, what is this? And then begin the conversation rather than putting all the cantos in their hand. It's not so practical. And so this is a really nice way to bridge the gap for people, because we have nice attractive photos. I'm not sure if you can see. There's a picture of a deer with water below it, and then it has a quote from Srimad Bhagavatam about happiness, saying that the deer can't see the water below it, so it's seeking the water elsewhere, just like we can't see the happiness within our heart and we're seeking it elsewhere. So every page has a different theme, like happiness, peace, reincarnation, karma, satisfaction, and they all have nice relevant pictures and a quote from the Srimad Bhagavatam. So we can turn to those. Like this one here, I sometimes use, it has the quote about how life's desires should only be directed towards understanding the absolute truth. So a way to explain that is our life is so busy these days, our mind is full of distractions and stimulations, so it can be hard to focus on our inner self. So these books, this encyclopedia is helping us develop more of an inner focus. So yeah, this is really helpful resource and manual that just makes it more relevant and accessible for people. So in that way, that's how we can open the conversation. And really we notice that certain themes that we talk about resonate with certain people. So whatever resonates with that person, we go deeper into by choosing a pastime from the Bhagavatam that talks about something that they may be inspired to hear about. So an example could be like if someone is expressing that, I've been struggling to find inner happiness recently, or, perhaps a businessman is saying that, I have success, but I'm not satisfied. Then we can bring in Dhruva Maharaj and say, there's a story about this young boy, and he was really trying for external achievement. He was really trying to focus on material success, and he got it all, but then he came to the realization that actually I was just searching for broken glass when I had a jewel the whole time. So this is one small example, and of course it depends on the person and what they're interested or satisfaction. There's so many pastimes that you can relate to how people had everything but they weren't fulfilled within. So then that makes people want to know, oh, these books actually have something relevant in me, in them, and maybe I can learn something from this. Yeah, so just to recap a little bit, is we have the aesthetics sorted, and then a resource to bridge the gap, and then find something that relates to them, and explain a pastime to do with something that resonates with them the most. And generally, what we've done just in our experience is we always explain the context of what is the Srimad Bhagavatam, because for people in New Zealand, it's quite exotic. Like, okay, there's a king, he's got 7 days to live, and then there's all these sages. Like, most people don't even know what a sage is. They think it's a herb. So there's a bunch of wise people who get together and they discuss what is the highest good for people. And this king is going to the bank of a river, because also people don't know what the Ganges is. So they go to the sacred river, and the king asks many questions about life. And what I personally do is I often say, so this king had 7 days to live. What would you do if you only had 7 days to live? And then that's a nice key hook for people. Like I've heard, I think Vijay Prabhu says the question mark is like a hook. So it hooks people in, and then it opens them up to go on to a deeper level of conversation. Oh, what would I do with 7 days to live? And puts them in a more reflective mood, opens their heart, and then we can slip Krishna into their heart. So yeah, that opens the conversation and kind of deepens the relationship immediately. If I can just say a little more, it was something that we noticed is that, it's quite hard for us because we're used to doing single books or stacks of books. So to go from doing that to trying to present Srimad Bhagavatam can be quite a challenge. So we were noticing that because we would take the set out and then have the other books, we'd often get distracted.
Yeah.
From that.
Selling one book at a time.
Yeah. We'd like take the set and the set would be there, but then we don't really do it justice because we just presented the smaller books. So a way to try and get around that was that we, inspired by our friends in Auckland, we would just take out the table and put the Srimad Bhagavatam set and some japa beads, and that's all, and have other books underneath the table in a container, like hidden. So then the idea was that we were only, when we approached people, we were only presenting the Srimad Bhagavatam with this brochure. Like, hey, this is a spiritual encyclopedia, discusses all these topics about spiritual development and happiness, peace of mind. And so we were trying to it was quite hard at the start, to be honest, because we weren't used to that. But we noticed that, the more you show, the more you sell. So we got a bit more confident. And our friend Katamrita mentioned a marketing strategy that if you pitch something 16 times, then it's likely that
you'll do one.
So rather than being overwhelmed with the goal of like, oh, we have this many sets to distribute, and people aren't even wanting to take a poi, so what to speak of a Srimad Bhagavatam set, because in New Zealand it's very expensive. It's $450. So instead of having a number goal for how many sets, we decided to think, okay, let's have a goal of how many pitches we want to make. So how many times we want to try and present the Bhagavatam directly to someone. And that's been quite successful so far and very inspiring. And in the ashram, in our ladies ashram here, we have this, recently we've started, I don't know if it's backwards on your screens, but it says personal training Sankirtan plan. So we have different exercise options that you can choose each week, and one of them is the 16 rounder exercise, which means that you present the Bhagavatam set to 16 people every week, and that's Parampi Jayate. That's a success. And then so you have your goals and you fill out your goals and your books that you do. And anyway, we've just started doing it in our ashram now, just a little initiative to warm up. Because then the more we do it, the more confidence we get, and it's not like this big scary task, but it's manageable and practical. So that is one way, because the more we're doing it, then the more Krishna is seeing our effort to present him in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam, and the more he will naturally send sincere and right people. So the final point is that something we personally struggle with, and that it would be nice to get some guidance on, is the financial crunch. Because often people are actually really interested to hear about the Srimad Bhagavatam and to see the brochure and to hear about the books. But then when we say, yeah, so it's 450, only 450, no matter how much we try to ease it.
Installments.
Yeah, even in installments, people are like, they get a bit tighter on the collar. Like, oh, I don't know. So that's something that we're wondering how to deal with, because for a Western value so much of Srimad Bhagavatam as perhaps an Indian bodied person might, they might think, oh, that's too much for some books, what are these books going to do for me? And for Westerner, they might not understand that, these books will take you back to Godhead. So we're wondering how to cope with that, in the sense that, we don't have so much of a wealthy congregation, to say the least, and nor many Indian people in our congregation. So we're wondering how to bridge that gap, and we're trying to tax our brains how to do that. So, but we're just trying to plant the seeds at the moment. And if people are interested, we've also made a flyer, which is something that we can give people. It's just small, one side, and the flyer has different questions. What is the ultimate good for people in general? Is it possible to be happy all the time? Is there life on other planets? What is my purpose? Why do we pursue things we already know will end? How can we reach our true potential? So this is a flyer that we can give to people if they are interested, but they don't have the Lakshmi, they don't have the money, and we want it. And then we have our number and contact details, and people can follow up in their own time. So, and we also try to stay in touch with them. So I hope that all makes sense, and I didn't talk everyone's head off too much, but thank you for the opportunity.
It made a lot of sense. It was really good, very realized and very practical, well developed, actually. This is revolutionary, it's breakthrough, it's cutting edge, really good. Thank you very much. This is shot heard around the world. Please.
Thank you for the question.
Yeah, everybody's eager to try it out and take your technology, whatever you have, and we'll help blow it up a little bit, whatever, in different parts of the world, and we can keep collaborating on that. And somebody, Malaysia used to, yes?
Sorry.
Oh, please.
Happy to send a soft copy. I think somebody requested a soft copy of.
Yeah, Shamohini or Anukul Seva will collect all that stuff from you, whatever you're willing to share. And, anything you have, we'll archive it and make sure everybody can get it. Really good. There was one comment here, Malaysia, I used to sell educational program. This is from Tranjim, Prabhu. We don't say the total price. We say it's only $50 a week or something like that. So $450 can be broken into 12 payments. Shruti Priya says, thank you in advance for the soft copy. It was really excellent presentation. We could dedicate a lot more time to it in other individualized calls. I think it's really excellent. First thing comes to my mind is subsidies, people paying it forward in different places, and where it's a little leaner as far as the Lakshmi goes. Getting the price down on the books could really help a lot too, but we can discuss that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Oh, brava. Hare Krishna.